This is the plaintiff, Philip Walden. He says the defendant filed false charges against him, causing him to be arrested, and he had to spend all sorts of money to clear his good name. Lawyer fees, pain and suffering, you name it. The cowardly defendant caused it, and he's suing for the $3,000 he's now owed. This is the defendant, Gregory Williamson. He says the plaintiff's been harassing him the past 10 years and even threatened to send some guys to shoot up his house. Real mature. The plaintiff's lawsuit's ridiculous, and the guy deserved to be arrested. He's accused of an illegal allegation. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $5,000 for emotional distress and pain and suffering.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Philip Walden?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you are suing Gregory Williamson for $3,000 in pain and suffering and the cost, I guess, of an attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
In order to set aside warrants you got for not showing up for a case that you say he completely fabricated.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me what happened. And you have a counterclaim against him for $5,000 for emotional distress and pain and suffering. Okay. Let's see.
Actually, this is all boils down to a custody battle over my son.
Okay,
And,
how old's
March,
your son?
He's 13.
Okay, and who's the mom?
Stephanie Garvin.
Stephanie. And
Yes, ma'am.
Stephanie, this is your
My mother's fiance.
mother's fiance, and he's been in the picture for how long?
About 10 years.
Okay, go ahead.
March the 7th, I filed for custody for Anthony. My son has been reaching out to me, asking me to get custody of him. He's,
Okay.
you know, wants to get to know his other side of the family.
Okay.
And
Were you not visiting with him all this time?
well, the mother's has stopped me from seeing my son. Period.
Well, did
and
you
my
ever go to
daughter.
court to make sure she can't stop you? Because you
Yes,
have
ma'am.
rights.
Yes, ma'am. I have.
Okay, so were you did a court allow you to see him?
Not actually, not my son, but for my daughter. I have a son and a daughter.
Okay, did you
with
go
her.
to court so that the court would allow you to see your son?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what happened with that?
Well, we're in the process of.
Okay, but I understand he's 13. He's not 13 days or 13 months. He's 13 years. Have you been seeing him regularly for 13 years?
Not regularly. I was.
Okay, has he been seeing him regularly for 13 years?
He was in prison for 7 years.
Oh,
so
why don't you
he's not
say
been
that?
seeing
He was in prison
anybody.
for 7 years, and then what?
He's not been seeing him after that.
Okay,
And
have
he's
you
been-
prevented him from seeing him?
Yes.
Okay, and why?
Verbal abuse. There's been a lot of occasions where, you know, he's wanted to pick the kids up. We've ended up in an argument. He hasn't shown up. The last time that he tried to come and see our daughter was December 10th, and he came in drunk and staggering and couldn't speak right and tried to push my door open. I mean, those are reasons you keep away from your children.
Okay, and have you two been in court before now for the daughter and the son?
We have for the daughter. Right now, we're still going through the custody battle with our son.
Okay, now for the daughter's how old?
She's 16.
16. Okay, and what was the result of the was the custody battle for the daughter and the son?
No, the
Visitation
custody,
for the daughter. He didn't want to
Visitation
take the daughter, just wanted the son.
he wanted visitation for the daughter and custody for the son.
Okay, and the daughter was resolved in what? What was the result?
I wasn't able to make it to court that day, so a default judgment.
What the heck were you doing that you couldn't make it to court on an issue involving your daughter and
I had a flat tire on
visitation?
my car. No way
I
to
beg your
get there.
pardon?
I had a flat tire on my car, Your Honor. No way to get there.
So what happened in court? Because you didn't show up.
He was ordered the default visitation.
Okay, and so he visits her how often?
He hasn't since December.
Okay, since December. But December's the time you and he got into a fight because you say he showed up drunk.
Right.
Right. All right. And the default order on the daughter was entered when?
I believe it was August of 2010.
Okay, so between August and December, did he meet with her and see her?
I believe he did once.
Did you see your daughter once between August and December?
I seen her. I took her to a football game.
That's it?
That's it.
Well, does she call you? Do you have a
through
good
my
relationship with her? Or,
More with my son. 'Cause
Okay.
They practically.
How many kids do you have?
I have 6. Actually, I take that back. I had 2 since I came home from incarceration. So I was calculating. Yeah, I had,
Okay.
actually I have a total of 8.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
it's
I have
hard
a
to keep it all
yeah,
straight, right?
yeah,
That's sort of why I'm hoping you're done.
I had a total of 8, actually.
When is it that you're putting in for Father of the Year again? So you're fighting now to get custody of this particular child.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, he lives with you. And you live where in relation to your mom and her boyfriend?
I live directly across the street from them.
Directly across the street?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you end up having some kind of argument that blows up and then results in everything that happens here later. Tell me about that argument, and then I'm going to ask you about your side of it.
Well, I filed custody for Anthony March 7th, and I had a conversation with him on Facebook, and he told me that I have the copy of that too. His mother was cussing him out because he told her he wanted to come with me.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, I filed this case. Then I catch a false document that he filed.
He tells the police that you threatened to what?
He threatened to come over and shoot the house up and bring some guys over.
Okay. And you tell that to the police on what day?
April 11th.
What is it that let's start with you, because you're saying these were false. Let's find out what this is that we're talking about.
Yes,
okay,
he just got out of court with Stephanie and my fiance, Terry,
okay,
over a custody battle with Anthony.
Okay, and hold on one second. What had happened that day?
That day, we had court at 1:30. We went in for a child support hearing, wasn't custody. And he requested a DNA test. So we
DNA test of which child?
Anthony, the one that he wants.
The one he wants custody of?
This is all a
Yes.
delay tactic because he couldn't get his child support lowered, so now he wants custody of our son to balance out the fact that I have our daughter.
Okay.
So
Now
he
they're
doesn't
waiting
pay
on a
child
DNA
support.
test.
Okay. So
But
go ahead.
we left there. My mother and I pulled up to the house, and there were police there already. And
Okay, so stop. Go ahead.
This, right around that time is when he called my house, and I answered the phone. I said,
So
hello.
I presume this was after the hearing.
Yes, I answered the phone. It was Mr. Walden on the phone, and he says, where was you at? I was going to punch you in the mouth. He said, you're too scared to come to court.
Okay.
And I said, no, I'm not scared of you. I've never been scared of you. So I hung up on him. He calls back. I hang up on him again. He calls back again. He says, you know what? Why don't you meet me down here in the hood if you're such a man? And I said, you know where I live, Phil. He said, yeah, I'll just bring some guys up there and we'll shoot your house up. And this ain't the first time he's threatened to shoot the house up. It ain't the first time he's threatened to go across the street and shoot Stephanie. It's ridiculous. And I said, enough's enough. He torments these kids. He calls them dirty names. I mean, just awful names.
Keep talking. Tell me what
And
happened.
anyway, he just kept running his
So
mouth.
he tells you
running his
that, so
mouth.
what do you decide you're going to do?
I called the sheriff right away. I told him, look, I'm done playing these games. I don't know what this guy's capable of. He's got a police record a mile long.
Okay, and then what happened?
He said he was tired of playing around with Phil. He said, I'll be back tomorrow. You do your witness statement. I'll go down and file the charges myself and have him arrested, and they arrested him the next day.
So you get arrested the next day.
No, ma'am. No,
When do you get arrested?
Actually, I turned myself in.
Okay. Tell me what happens while you're there. On that day, on that telephone call, what is it that he told me what he says happens? What do you say happens?
Actually, my son called me from there.
Okay.
Anthony calls me all the time, so I didn't get to my phone in time. When I did call back, that's when he answered the phone.
Okay.
And he asked, who is this? I said, this is his father. He says to me over the phone, replies, don't be calling my house boy. So I told him, I said, man, listen, put my son on the phone. Stop trying to interfere with the relationship between me and my son. You know, and my son is the one that called me. I have, you know, the audio tape to prove.
And then he says,
you know, start dropping the N-bomb. He's going to hang me, all type of crazy stuff. You know, he's a racist, and I don't want him around my son. I don't even really want him around my children, period.
so now there's this case, and you turn yourself in.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you have a court date, and you miss the court date?
I missed the court date. I went down on the wrong day, actually.
Okay. And then there's a warrant for your arrest.
Yes, ma'am.
And the $750 that you're suing for, you paid in order to have that warrant for the arrest for missing the court date because you got the wrong date.
Actually, for both warrants, to get them both lifted. She lifted 2 warrants.
Okay.
Actually, it was a duty
Why are there
judge.
2 warrants?
Well, actually, the first warrant was off of his false document that he filed. And he filed
Okay.
and said,
He says it's true that you said you were going to go over there and shoot the place up.
Absolutely not. That's
And
why
you
they
say it
dismissed
isn't. How are you going to prove? Because here's what happens when you come to court. When you come to court and you're suing for malicious, you're suing for 2 things, really. You're suing for what you had to pay a lawyer to set aside warrants that you got because you didn't show up for court, so that's just silly. But then you're suing for pain and stuff, for malicious prosecution.
Yes, ma'am.
Really, you're saying he made something up, and you know that cost me a lot of emotional turmoil and time in jail and whatever else.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's what you're saying.
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Now, how are you going to prove that he made it up and that you didn't say it? Because that falls on you to prove it, not him to prove it in this forum.
Yes, ma'am. I have an audio tape from the investigation department from the public defender's office.
Okay.
That's why they dismissed the case.
Okay, now stop. So you had a court date on what day that they ended up dismissing the case?
I'm not sure.
Do you remember when it was?
They dismissed the case
September
on-
26th.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Actually,
Okay.
it was the 20th.
Now, on September 26th, were you guys in court?
My
No.
mother was admitted into the hospital that day.
And
Do you
I
have
called the court.
hospitalization papers that
Yes.
prove that she was brought into the hospital that day? So you are saying, no, Judge, that case got dismissed, but not because he's so innocent and
Because I
these
didn't
charges
show
are
up.
false, but because you all didn't show up because you had an emergency hospital visit
Right,
with
and
your
we
mother.
called the court system, and they told us they were going to let the prosecutor know. Well, they failed to let the prosecutor know.
Now, you're saying they dropped it because you're righteous and he's a liar.
I'm saying that the audio tape with Anthony's confession, letting him know that he lied and that I did not say any of those things.
Okay, you have a tape you want to
Yes,
play
ma'am,
for me?
I have an audio from the
Okay,
public
this is a
defender's
tape
office.
of your son being interviewed by an investigator for the public defender's office.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
And
While you're queuing that up, let me ask you a question. Was there a point in time where you, after, according to you, hearing that threat from him, armed yourself with a
Absolutely.
A shotgun?
Yes, I did.
What did you do?
I had a 12-gauge shotgun. I was sitting on my porch out on my...
Just sitting on the porch rocking with a shotgun?
There is a...
That's the vision I have. It was in a rocking chair because that's the vision I have.
There's a bench right out in front of my house, and I sat right there, and I told him to bring all of his boys down there. I'm done playing with this guy. I really am. I mean, he's sitting here bold-faced lying
Did he
to
ever
you.
come up? Did he ever go there?
He's been here. He's been to our
No,
house
did he
many
go to
times.
your
No,
house that day?
Absolutely not. But he's
Did you
been
ever
to our
talk
house.
to him again after that?
No.
Okay.
So, you never heard your father say he was going to do that. He just told you he was going to do that. That's
Yeah.
what Gregory told you that he had said.
Yeah, and like my step grandpa, which is Greg, he like mixes up a lot of things. So
What do you mean?
Like, say we'll get in a fight or something, he'll like say I said that and I never said it.
What did you
Like,
want me to hear?
I wanted you to hear when my
Dude,
son had
does anyone
stated
prevent
that
you from
I didn't
talking
say
to your
that.
dad?
You know, I
Turn
didn't
it
say
off.
that.
The public defender's office has done their job, and they had an investigator call your son. Okay? Don't get mad at your son.
I'm not mad at my son.
I know. Because I can't imagine, you know, it is so hard to be a teenager. And I have 3 kids, 2 of whom are teenagers. And I say to myself, if they ever complain again about anything, because they could be Anthony, caught between the 2 worlds, caught between a mother he obviously loves, respects, and doesn't want to disappoint, and a father that he desperately seems to want a relationship with. No. No, no.
And welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So is it wrong that this guy is fighting to get visitation for the boy, but not the girl?
Oh, definitely, because it'll affect her just as much as it'll affect her brother.
You would think, let's go to a guy. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, if they're your kids, you've got to spend time with both of them equally.
I mean, is it almost heinous that a guy would do that? I mean, is it really bad that a guy would almost like ignore the girl?
I think so. Yes. I think so, yes. Because they belong together.
They belong together, and think about what it would do to the girl to know she's not wanted.
Exactly.
Yes. Going inside the courtroom.
You made a decision to bring 2, not 1, 2 children into the world. They didn't ask to be born. And you both have a responsibility to those children to act civilly and in their best interest, which means that if, in fact, they shouldn't have contact with him, prove it. And if you cannot prove it, and the best you can do is he served prison time, then maybe that's not good enough to separate them. And if, in fact, you want to be a father, prove it. And don't pick just the boy when there's a girl involved, too. And if you have a right to visit with the girl, then exert it. Do like every other father who manages to figure out a way to the courthouse and fight for their children, not just when they have an order against them for child support that they don't like and they want to even out, but because they want to have a relationship with their child. The thing is that having said all that, I know how many times he tries to talk to his child. And I'm not 100% convinced it's just to mess with you. Let's discuss the charges here. You wanted me to listen to a tape because according to you, I was going to hear in that tape where the boy categorically says that didn't happen. How can he ever say that didn't happen? This is a phone conversation between the 2 of you. What the boy says is, I didn't hear that happen. This case got dismissed because the witnesses didn't show up. This case did not get dismissed because a 13-year-old boy says he didn't hear a telephone conversation between 2 adults. That just didn't happen. But aside from that, you would have to prove to me that it was false to win here. And I may not be 100% convinced that it happened, but I'm pretty darn convinced that it happened. So you're not going to win a malicious prosecution case against him here today. You have a $5,000 case against him for what?
For my fiance having a stroke over all this.
Do you have any medical evidence that your fiance had a stroke because of him?
No, the doctor just said it's because of all the stress.
Yeah, okay. And, you know, do you have any medical evidence to suggest that that's the stress that put her over the edge and that there's no other stress in her life? Of course
not. No, not just
okay.
that, no.
I understand that there were some bad choices made around here, but people have to live with bad choices every day, and that does not a $5,000 lawsuit make. Now, your lawsuit against him, I rule for him. Your lawsuit against him, I rule for him. I'm about to send you people out of my courtroom, and we're done. But I want to tell you something. If you have a shred of decency in your soul, if you have the slightest drop of... Do you love Anthony?
Absolutely.
Do you love Anthony?
Mm-hmm.
Do you love Anthony?
Absolutely. I love all my grandchildren.
Okay. If you all love him, then please stop tormenting him like this. Figure out a place that is the right place, whether it's supervised visitation, visitation with another family member, no visitation, whatever it's going to be, you do it in court, you do it right, you do it through psychologists. So whatever else you guys end up doing, at least have a shred of decency and don't torment Anthony anymore. And figure out what it is you need to do to work as a very dysfunctional family, but a family nonetheless, because it's the only family that that kid has. Got it? Got it? Good luck, folks.
Hold on right there, please.
Judge Milian working hard there for you.
Yes.
I know you heard her in the courtroom there just now.
Yes, sir.
But are you really willing to listen and take her advice?
I mean, of course. I mean, there's two sides to every story, but mine's the best. So.
Well, how do you correct this mess then?
Well, I'm just gonna
for the sake of the boy.
He's crying out. I'm gonna grab my son like he asked me to.
All right. Good luck.
Guys,
All right.
right this way.
All right, so you come on in here. Where does the healing process begin from your side?
You know, first off, he needs to admit that he's got children. He doesn't even admit Anthony's his. He wants a DNA. He hasn't paid child support since that child had been born.
So you're just going to continue the same old fight as when you guys walk out of the courtroom
I plan
today?
on going to court and making sure he's out of our lives permanently. She didn't hear everything that we had to say, but he's tormented my family for the last 17 years, and I'm sick of him. He needs to stop, and I hope every woman in Columbus that's seeing this knows to stay away from him. He's bad news. He's a liar.
All right, Harvey.
I got to say, I think it is unbelievable that this guy has 8 kids and has absolutely no sense of responsibility. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.